Now this shoot, it had so many problems. Furniture being thrown into the swimming pools from the suite, doors that were locked from the inside by the safety bolt, freak storms in the summertime that don't usually happen.
You know, whether you believe in it or not, the Ghost of Elvis, I think, is deciding to make things a little bit difficult for us today.
When I was touring with Elvis, I met the Stones, and I met Led Zeppelin, and Elton John, and several others. When I would meet these guys in my era, because I was 20 years younger than Elvis, I'd go, oh, there's Robert Plant or Elton John or Eric Clapton. I'd be overwhelmed. But when they would meet Elvis, it was like the movie where they go, I'm not worthy. They would look at Elvis and begin to shake. They were so overwhelmed by his presence. And these are the biggest entertainers in the world. So Elvis influenced their lives. They were very grateful for his influence and his music.
Do you think the Ghost of Elvis still lives here?
And I have a story of living here on the 29th floor where I grew up. Well, see, when I was with Elvis, I came here in '69 when Elvis opened the International Hotel. So I was here in '69, '70, '71, then in '72, I went to work for Elvis. We were here from '72 to '76. So I grew up here. Now I'm an ambassador for the Westgate now, started last year. And I live on the 29th floor of the same room I lived in back when I was with Elvis. And it's so odd, I wake up in the middle of the night and I can feel his presence. Because I didn't spend a day or two here. I spent years growing up here. From the time I was 13 years old till I was 21 years old, I was in Las Vegas with Elvis. And it's not a fearful, haunting thing. It's just a presence of remember when. And you know, sometimes I'll get up in the middle of the night and I'll sit in my chair and absorb the feeling of Elvis. Because I believe in guardian angels, I believe Elvis is in heaven leading choir, and I believe that he watches over people, his family. And sometimes, you know, I'm a praying man and I pray to the Lord, and of course Jesus is my Savior. Elvis would say there's only one King. But Elvis is a guardian angel, and I go, Elvis, what's up? Somehow I get this overwhelming feeling of comfort.
So Gordon, how many times have we actually recorded this little intro right here with us?
I'm going to say this is the 6th or 7th time.
6th or 7th time over the span of a month. We're going to show some Elvis stuff. It became painfully evident, like the stepbrother and the head of the fan clubs has said, Elvis still lives with us.
I've definitely felt the presence through this project with you.
It was kind of nuts. So
yes.
Let's get down to it. We got the statue. You just saw it decked out with flowers. The other stuff we filmed from before. It's all going to be different, all out of sorts. I'll update you along the way. But Gordon, thank you so much for having us through the property. I got to say, Westgate has really pulled out the stops for us. So
we appreciate that.
My people, thank you. And if you guys want to come over, give us the address for the Westgate directly.
It's 3000 Paradise Road, Las Vegas, but just off the strip, right next door and adjacent to the Las Vegas Convention Center.
So if you guys are coming and you want to see a slice of Vegas history, come over here. You're going to see a property. How old is this actual building right now?
52 years. Opened up July 2nd, 1969 as the International. Then it became the Las Vegas Hilton. For a brief time, it was the LVH. And then David Siegel and Westgate Resorts took it over in 2014. And now it's the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino.
Let's go check out some stuff around the property. We're going to see the dressing room. We're going to see the backstage area. We're going to try to get into the property. I'll update you as we go. This proves that ghosts, I think, do exist. And you said it's a meme around here, right? When something goes wrong, you say it might be the
the tech people will blame it up. That's the Ghost of Elvis again. But we've definitely felt somebody's presence while we've been doing this.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at what we got to show you guys in this video. Subscribe to this channel. Let's go.
So this is the Elvis statue, and I was going to call it the famed Elvis statue because this is probably one of the most popular spots here in the hotel, and it's probably one of the most photographed or Instagrammable spots in Las Vegas. There are people taking photographs here all the time. What this is, though, is this statue was commissioned in tribute of the King, Elvis Presley, and that series of 837 consecutive sold-out shows. It was unveiled in 1978. Baron Hilton himself was here for the unveiling. Priscilla Presley was here. for the unveiling of the statue. It pays tribute, and if you look at the plaque here, to his 837 consecutive sold-out shows here at the International. It's an incredibly astonishing accomplishment. And another thing about his residency here, though, is when he performed, it was 30 straight nights, 2 shows a night. You know, the residencies today are typically 4 or 5 shows in a couple of week period, and they take a break. It was 30 straight nights, a dinner show at 8 o'clock and a cocktail show at 11 o'clock. Really grueling schedule. When Westgate took over the LVH, the statue had been moved outside of the front lobby, and David Siegel and the folks at Westgate saw the wisdom in bringing it right back here in the lobby where people visited every day. I said before, this is the iconic theater that Elvis Presley opened up with his first performance on July 31st, 1969. But again, the first performance was July 2nd, Barbra Streisand. But it's one of the most famed theaters here in Las Vegas. And when you look at the list of entertainers that performed here, it's pretty incredible. But the most notable, of course, is Elvis Presley, the king himself. Let's go on inside.
Wow, so I hope you're enjoying the video so far, and I want to tell you, this video is about as fun to edit as it was to film. And we had doors that were locked from the inside from the deadbolt, which is impossible when there's no persons in there. We had equipment that malfunctioned. We had freak storms when we got to the Elvis Suite, and it took us 3 separate filming occasions to get this all filmed up and finished for you. Thanks to our host, Gordon Prouty, for having us come in. And my name is Steven. I'm not leaving Las Vegas. If you like Vegas stuff, we do updates, live streams, current events, analysis, and short films just like this. So make sure you stick around for some more. Now we have to thank our channel sponsor in this segment, and of course that's P9 Magazine. So P9 Magazine and its affiliates are cryptocurrencies traded on the Ethereum blockchain as Ethereum 2.0 validators. Their aim is actually to showcase the global Pinay, and if you didn't know, Pinay means a woman of Filipino origin. Their first issues are going to feature Filipinas from North America, with subsequent further issues coming with women from UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. Also the GCC countries, which include places like Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, as well as, of course, the Philippines. They buy the side of Resorts World here in Las Vegas 1 week out of every month of the year, and they showcase their beautiful models over on the 140,000 square foot digital display, and they've sure treated our channel very, very well. We also have VegasFaceMask.com, no S at the end. My wife Caroline makes these face masks. They are 2 for $25. They are 100% reusable, the only 2 that you'll ever need. They go around the back of your head, not the back of your ears, so you don't have to worry about basically having nose wire or those Dumbo ear syndrome. If you need a mask, VegasFaceMask.com, 100% made by hand from the minute my wife cuts the fabric to puts them and packs them up and me dropping them off at the post office for you. Thank you so much for checking us out, and let us know what you think in the video. Let's continue on and see what this Elvis experience was really all about.
So this is really special. I'm going to show you now. Where I'm taking you now is actually the dressing room where Elvis Presley would prepare for his shows. It is the area of his original dressing room. Obviously, it's been modified and updated and renovated over the years, but we've kept some of the charm. Now, actually, when this was Elvis's dressing room, it was actually this and the room next door. But over the years, we've cut it in half. This is actually the dressing room now where the resident performer, our main resident performer, Barry Manilow, uses this, and the main headliners that come here and perform in the International. But what's truly special about this that we've saved is this bar is the original bar from when Elvis was here, and this was his dressing room. We have half of it here, half of it in the other room. This is the original mirror that was behind the bar. Now, Elvis, it was interesting. He was actually the first person to drink a lot of bottled water. So he wasn't a drinker, but his entourage, they would always be, celebrating and enjoying the fellows that were here. So it was quite a popular spot. And Elvis always had a large entourage of people around with him. So obviously this got a lot of use, and the space was fully utilized when he was here and doing this before his shows. And again, keep in mind, he was doing 2 shows a night. So this would be a spot for him to relax in between shows if they needed to, and his group would all hang out. Obviously some changes here, but this is now the other side of what originally was the full dressing room for Elvis. So what we'll do now that we've been here is we're going to retrace the steps that Elvis would take when he'd actually go on to perform, when he'd leave this dressing room. And what would happen is when he would leave, there'd be an entourage of people out in the hallway that would be waiting, and then those that would follow him, but this would be the path that he would take. He'd come out into this hallway and obviously head to this elevator. The elevator that exists here in the theater is actually still the original elevator from when the theater opened in 1969. So before we enter the elevator, it's kind of interesting to notice how tall this is. And think about it, back in those days, all the different performances, it was built this high so it can accommodate the plumes and the feathers on the showgirls that would perform. By the time Elvis would come off of this elevator and enter the backstage area, the entire theater was electric. People were already cheering and just going nuts in anticipation. The music that would sound off that the King and Elvis was about to hit the stage would start to be playing, and you could just feel the excitement. What Elvis would do then is he would come and stand on this spot, stay in this spot. Elvis then he would say a little prayer, stop here, little prayer before he'd go on. And after that, what he would do is he would touch the wall, bow down, and then he'd get ready to enter the stage. Now, what people had said early on, you hear a lot of folks that he would do that, tap the wall, and enter stage here. But what we found out is the original stagehand who was working here when Elvis opened up the show, he ended up becoming the stage manager, and his son is now the stage manager here. But he had told us, because his job was, he was the guy with the flashlight that would clear the way and kind of show the way for Elvis to get on stage. And what he told us was that he would clear that path and he would actually go all the way around. So he would have to go all the way around the backstage to the other side of the theater. And keep in mind, this theaters like this, they don't really build them like this anymore. There is, you know, several hundred feet of space from the stage through the backstage. So it was a longer area to walk through. So the stagehand would be showing the flashlight so that Elvis could get through. Obviously there'd be a lot of people, a lot of activity back here. The band would be on the stage here. You can kind of get an idea from this vantage point just how big this stage is, because you see it's a good distance before you get to where the theater is. So they would come all the way around. And again, the excitement at this point, people knew it was that he was about to take the stage, and that music would start and it would grow and grow, and the people in the theater would just start cheering, screaming, all of this activity that would be going on here. So you can see why they'd need somebody with a flashlight to pave the way for this. But this would be, he'd be here and he would enter the stage from this side. And then by the time he would get here, and there was so much electricity and so much excitement, and the crowd would be going absolutely nuts. Now, as you look out into the theater today, you see the seating that you're more familiar with in concert in venues today. Back then, this was all booths and tables. It was a dinner show. The other thing about those times is they didn't have reserved seats. It was basically general admission, and a great job in Vegas at that time was to be a maitre d', because a lot of people wanted better seats, and there was one good way to get those, and we know how that would work. You know, one thing I want to mention briefly is obviously there's also a lot of stories about the Ghost of Elvis and Elvis sightings over the years. One in particular, Wayne Newton tells the story about having seen the Ghost of Elvis up in the balcony up here, and it's a riveting story, and if you don't get tingles in your spine hearing about that, you know, you're not human. But so what I would suggest is to subscribe to this channel, because we're going to be doing something on the Ghost of Elvis and other things about haunted Las Vegas on a future episode. This would be center stage. And so this would be the spot where the performance would start. And again, we've talked about it. Elvis was, really paved the way for the Las Vegas residency, but so many great performers after him. But Elvis was the one that made this stage so famous. Before we go inside, here's a little bit. This is the actual location of the original Elvis Suite. As we talked about today, there are 3 sky villas that are up here on this floor. Originally, on the 30th floor of the hotel was the Elvis Suite and then a rooftop supper club called the Crown Room. Now there are the sky villas. In an upcoming episode for you subscribers, you're going to get a chance to see a much more in-depth look at all of the sky villas. But right now we're going to take you into the Tuscany, which is the actual location of the original Elvis Suite. Let's go on inside. Now this is the main living room of the Tuscany. Originally, this was where the master suite was in Elvis's suite. Right here in the fireplace area was where the headboard of the master bed was. It was laid out that way. It also kind of went about to where those back windows are, and then down this hallway there were about 3 or 4 bedrooms down there. Elvis always had an entourage of people, and they would stay with him here in the suite. I'm not sure how many of you believe in ghosts or have heard stories about the ghost of Elvis, but I do have to share this. It does seem that there is some sort of energy making this difficult. The original night we were going to tour up here, somehow the deadbolt in the door had locked from the inside, and we weren't able to get in, and we rescheduled for this evening. This evening we come in, and we've had some camera issues. Where the battery needed to be recharged. We had to change battery packs. And then a part of the tour tonight was going to be to go out onto the pool deck to show you the private pool. But if you can see through the windows, we're getting a very rare, very heavy rainstorm here. So apparently there is some sort of an energy. If I start hearing Elvis music while we're in here, I think I might cut this short. We are in the main living room of the Tuscany. This location was where Elvis's master bedroom was. At that time, the penthouse only went.
Sorry. You hear this thing chirping? I can't get it to stop. That's another thing that I'm serious about this. This is bizarro.
Well, I think you've got enough there for that part.
I do have enough there, but it was chirping during that. It's just, I've never had.
To refer to it?
You could. I've never had this many problems. All right, we're good whenever you're good.
Taking a little bit of a further walk, as we said before, the Tuscany is much larger than the original Elvis Suite. Once you come out of the great living room, we've got a beautiful bar set up here. Over to this side, we've got the media room. Taking a little bit further, as we get towards the entrance to the courtyard, we've got the dining room area. A beautiful little sitting room here. These are very special chairs that were brought in. Each one weighs about 400 or 500 pounds, so we won't be moving those today. What you also have here is the Tuscany is, of the 3 sky villas, the Tuscany actually has 4 bedroom suites. The others all have 3. Now, at a later issue, for those of you who are subscribers, you're going to get a chance to take an in-depth look at all of the sky villas, including the Tuscany. We're just going to take a brief walk through today. As we walk through, beautiful hallway. Takes you to the other 3 more suites that are back in here. You've got a beautiful suite here. Towards the end of the hall, you've got twin suites, one on either side. Over here, we've got a beautiful private pool. And as we've said, we're having a little bit of a Vegas rainstorm today. And I think Elvis is still a little angry with a chair in the pool. But you can get the idea of just how beautiful this space is, and the kind of a great time that people can have when they're staying here. Probably a good idea to get this out of here. Yes. If I can.
So one thing I want to do, I just want to cut the video for half a second. You might have heard chirping, the audio is weird, it's a storm outside. One thing I noticed about this property I wanted to actually commend you on is that I've not seen one thing out of place the entire time I've been here. So it's really weird that the door was locked from the inside somehow and all these things happen, but I just want you guys to know that's not par for the course from anything I've seen, and I've spent hours and hours and hours here behind the scenes.
Well, and as we say sometimes when there's things that are unexplained, we just blame the ghost of Elvis.
That's what you do around here?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so if you hear that weird stuff, that's what's going on in this video today. So I just want to thank you, Gordon, for actually having me come in.
Our pleasure to have you here.
And this has been a fantastic experience, seeing the property and seeing the back offices and everything. And you're so generous to have us in. And everybody in the blogging community appreciates this kind of stuff. Thank you so
Fantastic.
much. So my name is Steven. Again, if you guys like this video, we're going to do more. Gordon has told us we're going to come up and see all of these suites, do in-depth reviews. We're going to talk about the Ghost of Elvis Presley and the sighting by Mr. Wayne Newton himself, right?
Yes, sir.
And Gordon, you know, when I get to the end of my videos, I like to tell them to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I also like to say 3, 2, 1, click at the end of all my videos. But when I have a guest, or when I am a guest, I like to bring you into it. So on the count of 3, you want to say 3, 2, 1, click with me?
Got it.
So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, and we say 3, 3,
3,
2, 1,
click.
click.